Hello! So I'm going to be doing a review for the Nightfox ATR, which is an infrared sort of spotter monocular type thing, which is actually very good. I'm very impressed with it. So I thought I'd go over what it can do and what it can't do in this video. As I said, I am impressed, so this is going to be a positive review of it. But like I said, I want to go over what it can do, what it can't do, what it could do better and all things like that. So you get it in a box and it comes with the Nightfox ATR itself, a carry case and a transfer cable. I don't think other than the instructions there was anything else in the box. And so it looks like this. So on the top you have your controls for it, which I'll go through in a moment. On the back you have, I'll just zoom the camera out a bit so it's easier to show. On the back you have the actual bit you look through. On the front you have a filter that you can put on if you're using it in the daytime. That's where the infrared actual light is itself. And this wheel is used to focus it here, because you'd have to manually focus it. So, one of the complaints I'll get onto right away, I'll just say, under here is where you've got the SD card slot. It can take a micro SD, if I can get that open, it's a bit finicky. It takes a micro SD in there to save photos to, and you can use what I think is called a micro USB, you know, the very small like mobile phone USB to transfer files off of it if you don't want to bother taking the card out. So overall, yeah, I'm quite impressed with it. One complaint I'll get onto though straight away is really, I think here it should have like a camcorder kind of strap or some sort of lanyard. Looking at these grooves here, it looks like there should almost be something around there, but there's not, because when you're holding it, it would be really handy to actually have, you know, like a camcorder strap on this bit here, so when you're holding it there's no risk of dropping it. Sadly that's not there. Also when you're gripping it, you can quite easily put your fingers in front of the infrared bit there. It's quite awkward to actually hold this and not get your hands in the way of anything. Another thing is when you're focusing it, again it's hard to actually focus this without getting your hand in front of the infrared. So if you're using it in near pitch black conditions, it's hard to actually, you know, focus on the thing while you're trying to use it. If that makes sense, because the infrared is projecting from there. When you're focusing it, your hand's going to be going in front of the infrared, which means that, you know, you can't actually see to focus it, so you kind of have to guesstimate it and hope you've got it close enough for what you want. On the bottom there is a tripod mount. If you're going to use this for the photo or video function, using a tripod is definitely recommended. In the low light levels it doesn't have very good image stabilization, so if you're expecting to take really nice stunning photographs of it, you're going to be disappointed. If you're using it on a tripod it should be fine. I've personally found it's not very good for photos at all without a tripod, but it's very good for video because you'll still get some usable footage even if you're getting a bit of shake in there. Battery compartment is under here. Takes 4 AA batteries. There's been a bit of conflicting information on the batteries. Some of the places online said it took alkaline and nickel batteries and ICD. Other places like the manual say it takes alkaline and lithium ion batteries. So I'm assuming it can take all 3, hopefully. I think they're NiCads I've got in there, I'm pretty sure, and they work absolutely fine. But as I said, there is conflicting information from the various places that stock this, what type of batteries you should or shouldn't be using in it. Okay, let's go over my last complaint and then we'll start talking about it. But as I said, overall this is very good. Don't think, you know, I'm saying this is bad. I do overall think this is a very good product. Power button's a bit inconsistent. So what I mean by that is quite often I will press the power button and it won't turn on or it won't turn off properly. So sometimes you have to hold it down, take your finger off, hold it down again, do that a couple of times before the power on, power off works. I don't think that's the fault with this particular thing. I think that's just maybe the buttons aren't the highest quality, because again they've had to get a night vision device under £100, which is pretty impressive. And similar complaint to this, these buttons tend to work fine, but I do find it's actually hard to press the right button you want to use. And a major complaint I'll have now, just to mention this while I remember, is say you're filming, you press OK to start filming, and you're meant to press OK to stop filming. If you press, for example, the mode button by accident while you're filming, you will actually delete your file. It will go off of the filming mode and it will delete the file. So if you filmed anything good, you just lost the footage because you pressed the wrong button. And again, if you're using it in very dark conditions, you're not going to be able to see those buttons. So again, I'd have kind of liked, you know, like textured proper buttons there, not these little flimsy kind of D-pad buttons. But again, it's for under £100 and you get a very good product for that. So let's turn it on. I said I do very much like this, and what I'm going to do in a minute is show you some footage I've actually shot with it. So let's turn it on, and then hopefully I'll be able to get that in frame once it's on. So again, like I was saying before, it didn't turn on properly when I pressed the button in. Still not turning on. Now this doesn't seem to be turning on at all now, which isn't great, but as I was trying to demonstrate, there we go, now it's turned on. Okay, so you get like this Nightfox logo come up on there, and then you're ready to go on the mode. So what I'm going to try and do now is re-establish the camera so I can talk you through the modes. Okay, so I'm afraid this isn't going to be too obvious, but you have the zoom function, which does a 2x digital zoom. As you can see, that's mostly in focus there. I can turn the focus wheel to focus it a bit more or defocus it. But I do like the focus wheel because, despite my complaints about where the IR thing is compared to the focus wheel, it is very good in that regard. So you have a filter on the front, the removable filter. If I take that off, it goes into infrared mode. So we're now seeing things in actual infrared. If I pop that back on, we're in normal mode. But I'll leave that off for now. So you have the OK button, which I won't demonstrate, on the left, and I'll try and get that back on frame. And the OK button is what actually you use to start taking photos or start filming. You have the mode function, which, because you can't see the entire frame of this, you won't be able to see I'm changing through the modes until I get to that one, which is like footage that I may have taken. Then there's the menu mode. You can obviously format the memory card. Power saving mode if you want that on. LCD backlight, I have that on the lowest setting because obviously you don't want a bright light in your eye when you're trying to use night vision. Flicker, you can change it between 50 and 60 Hz. Obviously you want it on 60 Hz so it doesn't look very bad. Versions, just information. So yeah, if I put the IR on, this probably won't become evident till so what I'll do is let me just quickly stop the footage, and then I will turn the lights off and try and get it dark enough to demonstrate the IR button. Okay, so hopefully if I get that in frame you can see the curtain there that's a bit out of focus. Let me see if I can actually get that to focus, because this has got obviously an optical zoom on this. Right, that's probably going to be as in focus as I can get it for this test. So here you go, that's IR level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And on mode 7 is where you're meant to get roughly 100 yards range at night. But obviously so far I've not had a completely dark night where I've been able to test that. I've always been able to see further than 100 yards because this is very good at amplifying light that's there, which is a feature I really like on this. So even if I have the IR totally off like it is now, see if I can just get in frame. You have a battery icon in the bottom right of the screen, and you have what video or photo number you're on at the bottom left. But yeah, because this is very good at amplifying ambient light, I found often I don't even need to have the IR illuminator on the front on at all. So there's that, which is quite impressive. Now, if I show you this here, if we put the IR on, you'll see the light on the front get brighter and brighter until we get to mode 7. I think that's on 7 now. Yeah, so this is on the highest mode. Now, the Sony camcorder I'm using doesn't have a proper IR filter on it, so you can actually see a bit of the IR there. It just looks red to my eye. But you can tell this is quite an impressive IR thing because I can feel it generating heat. So, you know, the IR radiation does actually have an effect. If I put my hand, you know, that close to it, my hand really does start heating up. So it is a very good IR illuminator on this. It's not like a cheap and nasty one. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is just show you some actual footage with this, and then obviously you can judge for yourself how good you think this is. But as said, I am quite impressed with this myself. As said, I've got a couple of complaints about where things have been placed on this, and you know, the buttons not being great. Also, I don't know if this is meant to be a focus ring here. It's not mentioned in the manual. You can twist that loose and tight, but I've not noticed it have any effect on the visuals on the screen.